Good afternoon, Club 17. Welcome. Good to have everyone joining us today, and we've got a great program. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now Jim Hudson is going to lead us in the invocation and four-way test.
Okay. My apologies, folks. We're all learning new tricks this year, so let's pray for a moment. Lord, with Monday being Martin Luther King Day and yesterday our country inaugurating a new president, it's been quite a week of reflection. I personally pray for peace in our country and for opportunities for healthy dialogue where people can listen, seek to understand, and unite to take actions that create lasting positive change. And Lord, may our Rotary Club in Cincinnati do our part in this community to set a model of diverse people coming together where all people feel welcomed, respected, and valued, and together live out our value of service above self. And we pray for your blessing today on today's virtual meeting and for our upcoming virtual meetings while we use this format. May you particularly use Dr. Webb today to encourage, challenge, and inspire us as we face the opportunity and challenges ahead of us in the days and weeks and months ahead. Now let's all remember and be focused on the daily basis our four-way tests, which is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Jim, thanks so much. And we've got some announcements today. We're going to start with birthdays. January 19th, Lori Nolke. January 22nd, John McCann. January 23rd, Linda Muth. January 24th, John Fry. And January 25th, Brad Glazer. So let's wish them a happy birthday. And as you saw on E-Raise, the membership appreciation event, which was going to be this evening, we've pushed it back and rescheduled it due to COVID. It will be on Thursday, February 11th from 6 to 7 p.m. It's a great opportunity to go to the Fountain Square skating rink and either skate or use the bumper cars. We will have drinks and snacks provided, and bring your family. Bring them along. Should be a fun event. We will have social distancing to do all the right things. And if you're interested, just RSVP to the club office by February 5th. The capacity is being limited to 80 participants, so first come, first serve. Looking forward to a great night on February 11th. And a number of people in the club were part of the Rotary Professional Development Series, which kicked off last week with a great presentation. And the second session will be on February 11th. We're doing these right before the Rotary meetings, right before lunchtime. That'll be on February 11th from 10:15 to 11:30 in the morning. And the instructor, the leader, is Doug Bolton, our very own Doug Bolton. The topic is COVID and its impact on commercial real estate in Greater Cincinnati. And as we all know, commercial real estate has been hit very hard due to the upheaval with the pandemic, also some social unrest as well, and that's created a very tough climate right now. So whether you're an investor, a commercial real estate owner, or a tenant, Doug Bolton will draw upon his experience as former Cushman & Wakefield managing principal and Business Courier reporter, as well as editor and publisher. He's assembled a panel of real estate experts to share their insights into how to move forward in this chaotic environment. So check E-Raise to see more. There is a flyer, a printable brochure there. Early registration is required, So go ahead and contact the Rotary office. Again, February 11th. It'll be a great program. And we're now coming into that time of year for the annual Jefferson Awards. This is now the 16th anniversary of our club coordinating the Jefferson Awards in Cincinnati. And we're once again going to recognize outstanding volunteerism in our area. If you have somebody, an organization you want to nominate for the award, please go ahead and do that. You can click on a link in E-Raise and go and submit an online nomination form. Or if you know somebody else who has somebody to nominate, please encourage them to do so. It's easy to do. And if you have any questions, please contact Bill Shula and Doug Adams, the co-chairs of our Jefferson Award Committee. The deadline for submitting nominations is February 12th. And boy, we've had some amazing winners, amazing participants in that program over the years. It'd be great to keep that tradition going. So we are going to launch ahead. I know a number of people in the club were part of a service project last October, and we're going to launch ahead with another service project in February, the month of February, blood donations through Hawksworth Blood Center. It's a blood drive. You can donate on behalf of our Rotary Club. It's easy to do, and you can contact any of the Hawksworth 7 neighborhood locations in Cincinnati. If you go to their website, you'll see all the locations and their phone number, and it's easiest if you just make an appointment to do it, and pick any time in February. It'd be great to have good participation, and as we know, fighting disease is one of our focus areas as Rotarians, and blood donations fall under that category of service, and they're particularly important at this time of COVID. Donations are very much needed. So we have some members in the news, a couple of sad things to share. We are sad to say that past club president Jim Winter passed away on January 16th. Jim was the president in the 1969-70 Rotary year and joined the club in 1959. Please keep Jim's family in your thoughts and prayers. And please keep Rotarian Dave Lucky in your thoughts and prayers as well as he mourns the loss of his mother, Mary Ann Lucky, who died on January 13th. So now just some quick news about next week's Rotary meeting. We're going to have a club assembly, and there are many things that our club has been actively engaged in, even during this year, which has been an unusual one. It's a great opportunity if you come to next Thursday's meeting, participate by Zoom. It is all virtual next week. You'll get to hear a number of the service projects. You'll get to hear a number of the professional development opportunities that we've offered and the leadership roles that have happened within our club and are happening. And a whole bunch of news, a whole bunch of updates. A number of different members will be sharing their area of service in Rotary. So please join us for that. Again, that's next Thursday, January 28th. And now I'd like to switch and talk about our program for today. We're very glad to have Dr. Karen Schuster Webb as our speaker today. She is the president of the Union Institute and University, and Dr. Webb is the 6th president of that institution. She's a visionary leader, internationally respected scholar, and a mentor to those aspiring to higher education leadership. And she's dedicated her career to equity of access to educational excellence. Dr. Webb has more than 25 years of successful executive leadership experience, which she brought to Union. And Union is a university system based in Cincinnati. It also has centers in California and Florida with students from around the world. Prior to her time at Union, Dr. Webb was president of Antioch University Midwest Campus, and before Antioch, she served as associate provost and founding university dean of the California School of Education and Alliant International University, overseeing programs in California, Mexico, the Far East, and online. And Dr. Webb has a number of involvements in leadership activities, including positions on various boards. She serves on the board of directors of the American Council on Education, ACE, is a presidential sponsor for ACE's affiliated Women's Network. She also is past chair of ACE's Women's Network Executive Council, and she's received numerous honors and awards, among them Distinguished Alumni Award from the School of Education at Indiana University Bloomington. She was also selected as one of the top 25 women in higher education and beyond by Diverse Issues in Higher Education magazine. She's got other board positions as well, too numerous to mention here, but we are thrilled to have her speak to us. Dr. Webb holds 3 degrees from Indiana University Bloomington, the Bachelor of Arts, Master of Science in Education, and the Doctor of Philosophy focused in applied linguistics. And on a personal note, she's very proud of her daughter and her son, Ramona, who resides in California, and Wallace III, who lives in Ohio. And Dr. Webb is a member of the Rotary Club of Springfield, Ohio. She was a fellow club member there with our very own Mary Brenstetter, who's now in our club. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Webb to the Rotary Club of Cincinnati.
Thank you so very much for that very lovely and kind introduction. And thank you for inviting me to Club Rotary Cincinnati. It is a privilege to be here. You know, as I reflect as a Rotarian about service above self, I wanted to talk a little bit today about Union Institute and University, who we serve, why we serve, how we serve. And today I'm a little more hopeful in terms of the higher education landscape. I think all of us who have leadership in higher education have been with everyone else in the country and in the world holding our breaths as we continue to navigate through the horrible COVID-19 pandemic. It has certainly altered the face of higher education, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with how it has, as well as K-12. And as we look at the possibilities for funding and aid in the new Biden administration, we are hopeful that there will be help as higher education recovers. I will also say that we're very fortunate in the state of Ohio to work closely with Chancellor Gardner and the Ohio Department of Education in assisting us. Many of you may know a little bit about Union Institute and University, and some of you may not. We're a little bit of a hidden gem, but we were founded in 1964 by the president of Goddard College, who hosted a consortium of presidents from 10 institutions to bond together to make a very big difference in higher education. In fact, the quote was from Dr. Samuel Baskins: "We want to change the face of American higher education." And so over the years, from that start on the campus of Antioch College in Yellow Springs, Ohio, we have moved to an adult serving institution. And I'd like to play just a little video clip. It's less than a minute to show you what the face of Union Institute and University is today.
You want to finish your degree, but we understand that life can get in the way, like a growing family or a job that is just a job. It can be too easy to make excuses, but don't give up. You can return to the classroom because your classroom is your dining room table, your kid's soccer game, or your favorite coffee shop. Classes are 100% online, but you're never just a number. So no more excuses. Find it in you. Test scores not required. Apply today for free at myunion.edu.
The adult population that's here today, they're working professionals. there's time. We're constrained by COVID, but our classes are 100% online. And we ask that you not halt your education or think that you can't go forward, but that you look at Union Institute and University as a possibility. That whole consortium concept that started in 1964, and let me name some of the partners that started with us, and you may recognize some of these institutions. They're Antioch College, Bard College, Goddard College, Chicago Teachers College, Stevens College. Those are institutions that are still with us, that are still thriving, but what collectively we saw was a focus on social justice. That is part of our DNA. And this slide, even though it's too small for you to read individually, what you can see is that we talk about our beginning in 1964, and we were called as a collective, the Union for Higher Research and Experimentation. And then we moved forward to establishing Union as the University Without Walls. Once that was established, that became our DNA and how we are to serve. We then became the Union Institute in 1989, and then in 2001, we changed again to the Union Institute and University. And I'm new to Cincinnati. This begins my third year as president of Union, but as I interact, probably more before COVID than now, I would find that people will talk about, oh, you're from the Union, or you're from the Institute. And I understood then where those legacy names came from, but the "and University" part was not always part of that rhetoric. And so that's because that was a recent change in 2001. We produce leaders, researchers, and practitioners. We are nonprofit. We are accredited by the Higher Learning Commission. And as was said in the introduction, we are Cincinnati's only university system. System meaning we actually have locations in Florida, Hollywood, Florida, which is near Fort Lauderdale. We have them in Sacramento, California, and in Los Angeles, California. But the administrative hub and headquarters is in Cincinnati, and by bylaws will remain in Cincinnati. So from our East McMillan location, 440 East McMillan, we run the entire university system. Everything from enrollment to marketing to financial aid to looking at the administration of programs. That is all centered here in Cincinnati. We are also international. We have outreach in Jamaica, and we have students from around the world. We also have the advantage that our faculty is from around the world, and we have staff. Although we have our core staff here in Cincinnati, we do have staffing around the world. So that benefits our students. As we look at who we serve, our mission is that we are Union Institute and University educates highly motivated adults who seek academic programs to engage, empower, and enlighten them to pursue professional goals and a lifetime of learning, service, and social responsibility. So we're looking at over 40 plus programs, everything from a certificate. Your company, your organization could come to Union and ask us to create for you a certificate that would enhance the qualifications of staff or leadership. Our programs are accelerated. They are executive in nature. So we have that executive leadership part. We also have a very strong research presence with nationally accredited career programs, master's degrees, but also a doctoral degree. Our PhD, which includes Martin Luther King Jr. Studies and public policy studies, as well as with the humanities. We are very proud of our diversity and inclusion. We have 44% men, 56% of our students are women, and we are proud of our alumni, over 20,000 and counting, including Congressman Danny K. Davis from Illinois, as well as State Senator Cecil Thomas. We are also known for leadership in higher education with, at any given time, over 26 presidents of colleges and universities who are union alumni. And what comes to mind is Dr. Susan Wedgett at Mercy College in Toledo, Ohio. So that's who we are serving. We actually are serving the world because we are online with 98% of our programs, and those that are not are what we called residency, low residency programs. Our doctoral program, for example, or the practica with our clinical mental health counseling program. Those are strong suits. Mental health counseling, moving into healthcare, health and wellness, maternal child health, looking at business, a new MBA program that you can tailor to your needs, and also one focused in cyber security. We're looking at applied technology. We have a bachelor completion program, so very often we partner with community colleges, with colleges that do not have graduate degrees as well. And so our bachelor's programs are completion. And even now, as we look at Ohio Plus and we look at the opportunities that high school students have to earn college credit before graduation, they will become eligible for our bachelor completion program. One other really point of pride that we have at Union is that we are a Hispanic serving institution, the only Hispanic serving institution recognized in the state of Ohio by HACU, which is the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities. And you'll see we have part of our website devoted to Latinx and in Spanish. So the expansion is not only geographical, not only worldwide, but we are also moving into areas where English may not be the first language, but where they have a significant need for higher education. So why do we serve this adult population? Why is it really important? By 2020, which was last year, 65% of all US jobs will require education or training beyond high school. 65%. Right now, 38% of the workforce, or 59 million adults out of 166 million, has only a high school education or less. So for those who understand and recognize that factor, for those who have been considered an underserved population, those who have the tenacity, the grit, the determination to enhance their employability, enhance their credentials, or begin a new journey in a different field. We are there. Through the pandemic, all of us in higher education have had to go online. And many institutions are now recognizing the adult learner as being a significant population, not just a non-traditional, but a significant population for service. The adult learner has been our DNA. It has been our primary source. We have not just discovered them. So we feel called as an institution to migrate to where that population goes. So at first, that population needed evening classes, weekenders, a place to go, did not have the opportunity to go to an institution, and there's so many excellent institutions in the state of Ohio, but they couldn't do a 10 o'clock class, couldn't attend one. So we were among the first that offered evening classes, offered weekend classes, provided space so that individuals could come with free parking to make it easier for the adult learner to seek, complete, or start the new journey in higher education. It's also imperative because of the economics of our nation. Those who are better qualified um, will get those jobs. The earning potential when you have a bachelor's degree or beyond is greater. Um, Adult education strengthens the community. These are incomes that will help the tax base, will be very forceful participants in the independence of community life, will help children and families thrive, and certainly strengthens our democracy. So this is really a calling for Union. We are very much dedicated to this, our particular DNA, and it is our passion. So how do we do this? When we look at Union, and I say a system, I mentioned before that it means we physically have both accreditations in California and Florida to offer classes that are site-based. I would say the majority of the colleges and universities in Cincinnati area, certainly all of us here in Cincinnati, but throughout the state of Ohio, have the ability to go online and touch the world. But to actually have a physical presence and be licensed to actually offer site-based classes at different locations in those two states, California and Florida, you need special licensure. And so we have commuter campuses established there. Our Cincinnati location is a commuter site. And so over time, now with COVID, we can't always come to a location. So we have gradually, over the last 10 years, moved almost exclusively online. So the centers that we have are available for site-based executive certificates, for example, but more than that, they are outreach centers to the community. And so we're able to offer our facilities, especially to nonprofits or to organizations that want to use a smaller space, that opportunity. So we serve the community, we serve our students. And what you see on your left side, that is part of our location in Los Angeles. We have parts of that building skyscraper that you see. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Los Angeles, but that's the Howard Hughes complex, which is very much in central Los Angeles. In the lower middle, that is where our Sacramento location is. Our Sacramento Center is there, very visible from the highway. And on the right, before you see our iconic building here in Cincinnati, that's where our Florida Center, Hollywood, Florida Center near Fort Lauderdale is located. But tying all of those centers together is our online presence. And that is now how we best serve our adult population, who may have that second job on the weekend, who may not even be able to take the time for evening classes, but they can come to Union still and they come online. So we have migrated there. We are in that space. And we have invested in one of the top platforms to provide the kind of academic support that's needed, to provide the variety of classwork and the pedagogy. Our faculty has been trained for years how to apply state-of-the-art pedagogy to an online presence. So that's very exciting for us, and we're finding more and more interest. We also partner with other institutions, sister institutions, to help them. It could be in the pedagogy, it could be to hosting some of their online programs as we wait out this pandemic, where they can go back to more site-based education, but we're here to help in the interim if needed. When we think of our Cincinnati location, and so many of us, and we'll use the next slide, will say, oh, I've heard of Union, but I'm not sure where you are. Oh, I know that building, but I'm not sure what's in it, or I've never been in that building. You know, where is that? Cincinnati is our home. We are also co-located two very nonprofits. We are home to the Urban League's Business Development, Small Business Development Center for Hamilton County. So as soon as you come in to our building, you're very easily able to find the Urban League's Small Business Development Center. We also are home to what we call GC3, which is the Greater Cincinnati Collegiate Connection. This is a collaborative open to all of the colleges and universities in Cincinnati, public and private. So we see ourselves as sister institutions. And that's probably not always what you will hear about higher education, but we are very, very close knit, both public and private. We have an organization on the Southwest Ohio Colleges, Universities of Higher Education, SOCI. We have the Association for Independent Colleges and Universities of Ohio, AICUO, and they are lobbyists for higher education. Cincinnati is our base by bylaws. So we will be here. We will anchor the system regardless of where Union goes and how Union travels to continue to serve our adult population. And so we partner with Cincinnati State, we partner with other institutions in terms of linking our programs, sharing programs, focused on how we can share resources. And that's very good because higher education has to change. What we've learned from the COVID pandemic experience plague is that higher education will not go back completely to business as usual. And how are we going to be able to serve our missions in a different kind of way? One of the areas that Union is really known for is our commitment to social justice. And so one of our challenges is how can we work with you, work with the community, work with partners to achieve a goal of social justice. We can name areas of challenge. And I've always looked at challenge as opportunity. Higher education is challenged, it's challenged now, but we have great opportunity. But the social justice mission in Union Institute University has led us to establish the Institute for Social Justice. And the areas that we will really focus on is research, promoting international policies, foster policies that promote economic and social equity, transform social disparities through dedicated centers of excellence. And that essentially what we are in the process of transforming our academic centers into centers of excellence that will serve the community, will serve our students, will serve all regions of this country. We are about solutions. In higher education, we are about solutions. So identifying problems, that's one step, but what do you do about them? How do we partner to address those areas? How do we partner as Rotarians to engage in the service that has a higher education focus, that helps to get rid of the disparities in education, in health, in business? Social entrepreneurship is another area in which we are very, very present. So our emphasis now is on solutions. And I would say that what we want from our union community to the Cincinnati community, Hamilton County community, to Ohio, and to the nation is that partnership, is the challenge of what we do to solve and to find new ways and better ways to serve. Thank you so much for your attention. I'm happy to take questions. I wanted to leave enough time so that you could ask me questions about union or about higher education in general.
So just a reminder, as people are on Zoom, the greeters on Zoom have my cell phone number, and if you would like to ask a question, please text my cell phone, and I'll be glad to repeat the question for Dr. Webb. And thank you, Dr. Webb, so much for that great presentation. We really appreciate it. And thank you for your willingness to take questions. So with that in mind, again, go ahead and text me questions. And even while I'm waiting for some to come in, here's one from Doug Bolton. What's your forecast for profit, or let me say it a different way, for colleges that are for profit? What's your forecast?
Colleges that are for profit, there are some areas in terms of how they operate that have been utilized. They were some of the first to offer evening classes and weekenders. But right now, I think the challenge for them will be to both validate what the value added is. Many of the for-profits are often more expensive than even some of the private institutions. So that's part of it. I think that competition has grown in terms of what a state institution can do, or even some of the private institutions. We are very nimble. We're able to make adjustments. So I think looking at a share of the market is going to be challenging to them. Having to meet the same type of criteria during this administration that they may not have had to meet in the last administration is going to be a challenge. And as I look at the commercials on television, they're focused more on the scholarships. And that means that there is a real economic challenge, convincing the public that they have the value add in terms of tuition, as opposed to excellent state institutions and excellent private nonprofit institutions.
Jump into our next question, which is from fellow Rotarian Hux Miller, and he asks, what is the future for small private colleges, of which Ohio has so many and is so proud? Thinking of a college like Antioch.
Antioch is dear to my heart. I was part of the university system, and then Union was founded at Antioch. I think partnerships are going to be necessary for smaller institutions. What can we share? What resources can we share? As I mentioned, we are helping some of the smaller institutions with platforms. Zoom is very expensive, so you can't always continue to use Zoom. So what kind of platform can you use to deliver online courses? Looking at other kinds of collaborations in terms of the buying power that we have all together instead of individually. I'm thinking of Association for Independent Colleges and Universities, which works with the state to find ways that we can reduce costs for various purchases, large purchases, that an institution by itself would be very hard to obtain. But when you look at the 51 plus public or 51 plus private institutions in the state of Ohio, that now has a leverage of buying power that we didn't have. So I would say really communication, but collaboration and seeking partnerships, looking at our business model to see if our business model is serving us in the same way that it has in the past. We have to do that. We have to look at now as a predominantly online institution and low residency institution, is our business model the same as when we were site-based? So it's going to take some hard looks, but really reaching out, collaborating so that we can help each other. It's going to be very difficult, I think, to go it alone in the future.
Another question from member Angie Ferguson, who says, I have a high school senior taking her final steps before choosing a college. It is extremely difficult with so many factors to consider and trying to balance cost versus opportunity. You advise her to be the number one thing to focus on with her choice?
I think it's really looking at matching the style of learning with what the university offers, and looking at cost from the parents' perspective. But we're fortunate in Ohio, we have huge institutions, we have smaller ones. But does does this potential student do better in a big learning center setting or a smaller one? That helps to guide for success, because we all have support systems. And what is that person right now interested in? And does the institution offer that program or similar programs? It's hard, especially now, as to knowing what you want to go into. because there are career opportunities that'll be obsolete in 10 years. So where do you have the variety? Where do you have a symmetry with what you're interested in, the learning environment that's there, and the opportunities that you have for growth. And I'm really pleased to say that higher education has gotten it, such that we are all very cognizant of that need for real world opportunities, and the need for growth, and the need to match our individual students with the type of environment that we offer.
I have a question, Doctor. If you look at your international experience, and you've got a lot, you're on the board of a university foundation in Liberia. You've done work in the Far East as part of a prior job. Is this an area that Union Institute and University is looking at expanding to?
Yes, it is. And we already have expansion into Jamaica. We also have been asked to link our doctoral programs and leadership programs with 3 schools in Western Africa. We have interest from linking programs in different parts of Europe. And as a Hispanic serving institution, we are also looking especially in Florida and in California, linking into Central America, as well as looking at Mexico. So that is part of our agenda. You'll hear more of that as we go along. We're also looking at our Institute for Social Justice as having a global expansion as well.
We might have one more question, and we can take one more if somebody has that. I always have questions. So let me ask the next one. You said a little bit of this in your presentation, and I'll just share. I moved to Cincinnati in 1990, working for a company here. Didn't know the Cincinnati area. One of my colleagues was getting a PhD at Union Institute at that point. Of course, I was new to the area, so I wasn't familiar with Union Institute or much of anything at that point, but I do remember somebody who was working a full-time job who was getting their PhD, I think primarily then in the evening, maybe on the weekends. I know that your institute, so to speak, has been involved in very flexible education models way before this pandemic. You've got decades of experience as an institution in this. How do you think that positioned Union Institute and University, if we turn the clock back 10 months ago? What advantage did that have, and what kind of network did you have that might have exceeded what other educational institutions had?
Thank you for that question. And Union came to the city of Cincinnati in the mid 70s. So even as a Cincinnati presence, we have been here. We were already online. I would say 10 months ago, we were 98% online in terms of offering our programs, from certificates to low residency in the doctoral program. We had invested in the kind of infrastructure that allowed us to immediately go online. All of our faculty, staff, and our faculty primarily was online. The second thing is our faculty had decades of training in how to effectively teach online. We have a Center for Teaching and Learning that was established more than 6 years ago. And their primary goal is to provide orientation for students so that they can become successful as online learners. And as we hire new faculty or staff, they actually engage in the training So we were set up. We were there in that space because of our commitment to the adult learner over the years. So that helped us greatly. We still had programs that we had education programs, for example, in California, that were still offered site-based. So we still had that as well. But being able to do both, having faculty already trained in how to teach online, having a platform where we wouldn't miss a beat in terms of our students being able to access the best kind of technology and to support them. Our library is digital, all of our support services, mental health counseling, all of that is online and available to our students. So that gave us a way of being able to avoid the initial trauma of having to go online. And we're very thankful that we had the forethought to think about in serving our mission that we were already in that space.
Well, it's impressive to hear, not a surprise, but impressive to hear, and what a great model and how well that has served so many people. Dr. Webb, thank you so much for the presentation today. We very much appreciate it.
Thank you so much in having me. Thank you very, very much.
And I know as a Rotarian, you're very familiar with the kinds of programs Rotary is involved with, not just here locally, but around the world. And you know, one of those programs is the RI End Polio Now campaign. And in appreciation of you speaking to us today, our club is making a donation in your honor to the End Polio Now campaign. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. So kind. Thank you very, very much. Hope to see you again.
And just a quick word as we come to a close. Just a reminder, next week is our club assembly. It's a great opportunity to get an update on our club, the many ways that we're helping others and creating opportunities for others. But you know, as we do that, we're creating opportunities for ourselves too. We're growing in the process. So join us next week. And in the meantime, I wish everybody a great weekend. Meeting adjourned.